Shaw, what's up, guys? So Danny Shaw has stepped forward and he talks about the cultishness and liberalism. So on the cultishness and liberalism of Ali Hammoud, also known as Haz, and the ACP Executive Board. So this is the first of internal communiques that I distributed to the Executive Board and Politburo of the American Communist Party to raise the alarm about cultish and corrupt tendencies within the leadership. You will soon see how they responded. There is indeed a lot of liberalism, and it starts at the top. Good for Christian and John for starting to call out some of the bullshit. The general culture we are establishing is one of every man for himself, realpolitik. From the very top, there's been lying, manipulation, arrogance, mental illness, and a severe lack of communication. We have yet to learn to work with one another. In the first year, that has to be our goal. To establish trust among ourselves that can radiate through our ranks. I distrust many of you. Many of us were in the process of calling an emergency meeting. Here are some of the few reasons. Unchecked testosterone and LARPing. That sounds like some Alex Jones super male virility type of situation. And it says, I joined the ACP based on understanding that this would be a higher synthesis of infrared, Midwestern Marx, Konstantinos, myself, and others' leadership and experience in the class struggle and anti-imperialist struggle. So far, only one tendency is dominated and everyone else has fallen in line. This is not communist leadership. This ship will sink very quickly, and many people will take great delight in seeing us fractionalized into different sects, as in different factions, if you know. That's how they're using that word. On their X or Twitter machine feeds, sectarianism goes viral. Real Marxism is suppressed. What I see is a lot of LARPing. And then when we critique the chapters because they are LARPing, it is a shit show here in New York. These 5 months have been disappointing. How easy to blame the terminally online gamer kids like Spiros. Heavy Greek flavor in that organization. The human material we are working with is of an unprecedented historical character. This is the anxious generation, the fragile generation, the online shit-talking generation. We need to go deep. We need to go back deep in the laboratory. We need a leadership retreat to get on the same page. Not one where Kyle sits Haz down above us in a throne to dictate orders to us. We need a meeting where we are treated as equals and learn from one another. I was unimpressed with our ability to communicate in Dearborn and later Chicago. Has it occurred to any of you that we have no idea what the fuck we are doing? We need a real leadership. We need accountability. A chicken cannot produce a duck egg. We are fostering all types of sectarianism. We are immersed in the unproductive culture wars and are overemphasizing profilicity. We have a limited sense of what the proletariat of this country is. How do we balance our online engagement with real life engagement? People around us and within our ranks are noticing our 20-year-old arrogance at all levels of the party hierarchy. Who thinks they know it all? Where is the desire to learn from Marx's experience? I see leaders more concerned about the views on social media and getting a paycheck than building a communist culture. Marxist leaders tap into the leadership of others and develop their talents. They don't go around calling everybody this word here when they themselves are behaving like the insecure little bee snitches. Put up or shut up. Have some humility. For leaders to cash in on the success but to ignore the failures is cowardice and opportunism. How many of you leaders are afraid to speak up? And this is on liberalism and fear. The chairman shows up to Politburo meetings and he wants to, when he wants to. We can all wait because he has to take a shit or because there are fat bleeps who are in his way bench pressing at the gym. Wow, he sounds like a Walla Cusbro. If Haas is so compelled, he can cancel or postpone any meeting. On other occasions, he swashbuckles meetings late, issues his holy commands and disparate ideas, and then says, "Okay, I'm out. I don't need to be here for anything else." By anything else, he means the contributions of the 18 members of the executive board and Politburo. Slava, Bridget, Noah, and the rest of his acolytes do not dare question his lack of professionalism. I thought I joined the party of why we need American Marxism, not of cowards. Most of the PB members have actual jobs and kids who depend on us. We don't have the luxury of showing up whenever we want to. We don't know if the chairman is about to quit the party or die for it. And much of this split plays out publicly on Kick. He cuts people off and pretends to know everything. This is not a people person. This is a little fiefdom, and the yes men, Noah, Eddie, Carlos, who surround him and engage because their eyes are greedy. I was going to request an extended meeting of the Politburo where we can freely air our resentments and grievances without fear of reprisals. And when Haas senses the walls are closing in on him, he opportunistically calls for a meeting because certain harmful tendencies are lurking within the culture of the Politburo will be brought openly to the fore and criticized ruthlessly. This surely means that Haas will be beginning tomorrow night's meeting with a self-critique. This is growing evidence that there are severe mental health issues involved that need to be addressed immediately before we do more damage to the ACP. At tomorrow night's meeting, if Haas and Kyle try to dominate and monopolize the time, fuck that. We should all have a 5-minute period to say our piece, or more if it is necessary. Enough is enough. How many comrades are already thinking about quitting? The tone of this internal communique is commensurate with the challenges before us. The burnout is already kicking in. Leadership is failing us. We need a fresh start. And here's Ali Hammoud, aka Haas, wrecker of the ACP. The cruelty of the chief LARPers. Kyle and Haas led with cruelty. That has to be countered. This is not the spirit of a communist. Do they somehow think that calling everybody will impress the masses? The masses are sensuous. They live in the real world. They push for materialism, not idealism. The RCP and Ababavakian do this fake liberal thing too, cursing all the time as a way to make themselves sound tough. You may know the kids online, but you don't know the U.S. working class. They can see through fake shit. I'm quite good at seeing through fake shit, if you ask me. Why are we so worried about what is happening online? Andrew Saturn, Johnny Socialism are the arch villains of the proletariat. You are so concerned about outside affairs, but our own house is not in order. Where is the study of the proletariat? Where are the organic connections? Get offline and go coach local teams. Go to a community board meeting, as Kyle said in his riveting speech in Chicago. Community board meeting? Board meeting sounds like some corporation. I don't know, man. If we cannot lead this with this example, what are we establishing? If we do not get our shit together, there will be a series of online resignation letters confirming the critiques. If you are offended by this, wait until someone airs it out on social media. What percentage of our time is spent on online nonsense? This is the polarizing terrain of the class enemy. It is the crack that many of this generation cannot avoid. Let's develop on both fronts. None of this critique takes away from any of your talents. Kyle's a good organizer, but Kyle's realpolitik. He doesn't have any integrity. He will stab you in the back when it is convenient for him. This is about Kyle and his need to dominate everything, not about the ACP. He leads with his insecurities and experience. No one buys that he's a 50-year-old teamster who knows everything. Lots of bark, some bite. I have to imagine Kyle has a better side to him. Kyle Pettis is 50? Yo, I thought he was 35. There's no way that dude, he has a terrible hairline, but there's no way that he's 50. Dude, he's like 33 at the most, dude. He just has a bad hairline. I doubt proletarian women like Slava or his partner would allow themselves to be walked over by bullies like him. Kyle and I agreed on a key thing when we met a year ago in Charbondale and St. Louis. These terminally online kids need to continue to ground themselves in their communities. This is one of the most positive things we have done. We have to keep pushing this. Otherwise, why would anyone else respectable come anywhere near us and our arrogance? If all of you just want sinecures of fiefdom and platforms for your ego, let us know how we don't waste more of our time. There is also a creeping tendency to delegate more and more personal work to lower ranking members. We should not be abusing anybody's time. This will lead to resentment and burnout. We all have sacrificed a great deal for the ACP. We all deserve respect. Haas is impulsive. He makes decisions before he has read something or as he is reading it. Haas is indeed talented. His talents are his talents. His weaknesses are his weaknesses. If we do not play to his strengths, we will bury this project in its infancy. Haas flies by the seat of his pants. He's not organized. How does this play out in real life? On the second day of the Amazon DBK4 picket line, one of our ACP autistic comrades-in-chief awkwardly cornered a worker. This was no conversation. This was a monologue. The ACP rep had been practicing for hours in his head how to introduce the party to these noble workers. He had been debating for days if he should wear his red ACP cap, sounds like a red MAGA cap, and how he would physically fight the DSA if he had to. What? Dude, you're not in the ring, you're not in the octagon, you're not on the mat. What are you doing? You read so much Mark Samael, watched so much Haas, and now here he was. I watched from a safe distance. Some time went by and I could see there was only one reason the worker was putting up with his incessant rhetoric. The worker was high as a kite. The disconnect was comedic. So this dude was stoned out of his mind. What? And he was being talked to by this idiot from the ACP. The disconnect was comedic. It reminded me of the Trotskyite groups that have been embarrassing themselves on picket lines my entire life. Sectarian and obsessively online behaviors must be discouraged. They are antisocial and anti-worker. We have many worker contacts that we met at the Queen's picket line. I could grab a beverage. We oppose alcohol with a bunch of them, but why would I bring them around ACP? Our presence on the picket line was partially embarrassing. There was some good moments in general. We have no business critiquing the PSL or DSA if we ourselves cannot prove ourselves on the class barricades. The EB fashions itself above the rank and file. The rank and file do not know how to reach the masses. I do not pretend to know everything. You all know about the profilicity in the social media age. I recognize the talents and potential, or I would not be here. I believe in every one of you. If we do not address these and other issues in a democratic, centralist way, we will combust long before our 1-year anniversary. I wonder how many ACP members at the national and local level are already silent on Telegram or have dismissed us because of our LARPing and weakness. Do you assume for a second there are no people in our ranks, hostile or not, taking notes on all these tendencies? What experience do our leaders have? Do they deserve all the credit they deserve? But this does not give them a free pass to destroy this party, which belongs to all of us. This is not infrared. This is not the autistic days of complaining like a prima donna bitch all the time. We promised we'd be professional. We are losing our way. Russian agents. It is worth noting that 3 of our 5 of our EB members are in Russia when there are so many urgent matters to tend to here at home. Did the party take full advantage of the Teamsters Amazon strike? What lessons did we draw? An emerging leader with labor organizing experience here in New York and I published an article taking a closer look at the strike. I heard very little feedback from the ACP. Here at the chapter level, I wonder if anyone even read it. They are too busy chasing online drama and dopamine hits. Konstantinos has demonstrated the most poise, approachability, and humility with leadership. His experience shows he is a leader who does not give off a vibe of superiority. I'm however concerned the state could produce an Uhuru 3 type indictment of him and us. We are swimming in risky waters, but a lot depends on Trump's reshuffling of the billionaire state. But for a party still in its embryo, we are handing the state an entire case against us. Is this wise? I wrote an extensive article for Cover Action magazine looking at the class character of the Russian Federation as leadership. There's nothing wrong working with them, but we should not be taking our political cues from them. This is not the Soviet Union. What good are our accomplishments and accolades in Russia when we have neglected the home front? It feels like we are uniquely testing the reach of the state based on our desire for peace with Russia. If there is a return to Patriot Act like cases, would we be the first targeted? Hopefully the political contradictions will leave the space open for us, but we have to lead with more caution and less adventurism. It is clear our priorities are outside of the US and in cyberspace. If we are really to work together, we have to trust each other. The Haiti experts. On the 1st of November, I was tricked into a sit-down with Dan Cohen and Kim Ives. Dan Cohen, by the way, is a liberal Zionist who had his bar mitzvah on occupied Palestinian land, so they could send more guns to Haiti through Haas. This was not dialectics. If all of you are lifelong experts on Haiti, why didn't you set up a meeting beforehand to convince me of this? You lied to get me into a meeting with two individuals I identified as liars and opportunists. When I pushed back, Kyle started screaming at me that he's on the executive board and I have to do what he says. It is all recorded and Haas promised on several occasions to share the video. I was shell-shocked and disgusted to watch all the double dealing playing out. When I confronted Kyle about it later, he just blamed it all on Haas and his inability to organize. Where is the communication? Where is the democratic centralism? For hours leading up to the November 1st meeting, I was on the phone with Kyle. After much imploring from Eddie, Noah, and Carlos over the summer, I attempted to work more closely with Kyle. He had already attempted to manipulate a misunderstanding in Dearborn over the Memorial Day weekend when we formed the Institute for a Free America. Kyle is the catastrophizer. Kyle makes mountains out of molehills. He seeks to present situations as if he was indispensable to resolving them. This does not take away from the more arduous work he has done, but he has a need to take hold of situations so he can exploit them and look like the man. His manipulation of the misunderstanding in Dearborn culminated in his contact, the e-girl Nikki, who he was promoting. E-girl? Like, is this a prostitute? So he's involved with prostitutes? Who he was promoting at the time tried to dox me on stage at a meeting of the World Anti-Imperialist Platform in D.C. Wait, so Kyle Pettis is cheating on his wife with a prostitute? So, and then there are all the clowns from the ACP. That guy's Richard Cray. That guy's Eddie Ligier. That guy's Carlos Garrido. But in the run-up to the meeting, to the Haiti meeting, Kyle told me that Christian and all the Colorado have no clue about Haiti. We had to listen to the expert who has been on the ground there. He buttered me up. He tried to finish all my sentences saying that he agreed with my conclusions about the class struggle in Haiti. He said that ACP was taking direction from me. As soon as Haas got on that Zoom, Kyle did an about-face and did what he is best at, sucking up to Haas. After talking so much shit about all the bleep opportunists, Cohens, and Ives, within minutes he was all smiles, sucking up to them. I learned a lot that day about the ACP. In leading up to the meeting, Haas promised me that no matter what, we were going to be united because we are ACP comrades. He told the masses in Haiti and everywhere. Told me the masses in Haiti and everywhere were nothing, that they were a non-factor. He was all about over the place. If ACP is not about mass upheaval and mass empowerment, what is it about? Your wannabe tanky warlordism is not a Marxist view. It is an infantile far-left adventurism. If that is what your Russian sponsors want, okay. But let's be honest about it. If you have no interest in organizing with the masses of Haiti, what is your motivation? Has the Haiti expert even read my 27 years of research on Haiti? If all you wanted to do was run guns to Haiti through Russia, why didn't you inform me? Autistic Tweedledee and Suck Up Tweedledum just pointed the finger at one another. I'm not going to jail or putting the party at risk because one of you is a narcissist and the other is an ass kisser. So, Ali Hammoud is trying to smuggle weapons to Haiti. After they tried to humiliate me, Kyle told me I should be more invested in the ACP because I have so much to offer. Every critique I brought to his attention, he says, is exactly that's what we need you to step up. I'm trying to convince Haas and others. I doubt the sincerity of that. In the course of those days, Carlos called me with a laundry list of complaints about my work. When I brought up Kyle's manipulation, he made excuses for him because he had a rough childhood. Comrades, our trauma and mental health issues are no excuse to act like children. We have a responsibility to get our comrades to get this right. Get help if you need it. Do not waste our time and put us and the party at risk. We are here to support anyone who needs help. Kyle has good organizing skills, but he shows too much ego. Ego is not your amigo. I don't respect liars. I don't respect opportunists. I actually like the kid despite his need to control everything. If these egos are not kept in check, I don't see this leadership taking us anywhere. Many of you are behaving like cowards. You will never attract real proletarian fighters at this rate. After this reckless adventurism and duplicity, I was forced to submit a written affidavit of these events to my lawyers. I'm still trying to build this party, not because I believed you all, but because I had a commitment to the dozens of Marxist-Leninist comrades I met from across the U.S. and Canada. For the new and young comrades, none of these critiques, which will be aired tomorrow, are coming from a sectarian place. Bismillah. Nobody should be talking about quitting or splitting. We need everyone to step up. The American people and humanity need the ACP. Some of you are brand new to the struggle. None of your work has been in vain. I have critiqued comrades here because it is necessary. It is not personal. I will work with anybody who's willing to fight against this decadent genocidal system. But do not expect me to trust you until you take responsibility for your dishonesty and manipulation. Imagine if our comrades across this country who look up to us knew the truth about our dysfunction. We cannot allow this to get to that level of demoralization. We call ourselves a Marxist-Leninist party, and we aim to be the energizing, emerging army of the American working class. As Mao said, the popular masses are like water and the army is like fish. How then can it be said that when there is water, a fish will have difficulty in preserving its existence? An army which fails to maintain good discipline gets in opposition with the popular masses and thus by its own action dries up the water. This means that the human material compromises our ranks and must be disciplined, and they must be rooted in the masses. A very human material that compromises the majority of our party and goes up the chain of leadership itself is composed of many people who are not rooted among the people whatsoever and have very little discipline. Wow. Our active recruits are terminally online comrades who have not been properly vetted, have little to no organizing experience, and are poorly socialized individuals in general. At the recent New York holiday party in Buffalo, a 20-year-old comrade and chapter executive and another younger comrade blacked out drunk. If our comrades cannot even organize a mere party properly and maintain the most basic standards of discipline, how on earth can we expect ourselves to defeat the imperialist ruling class? There needs to be a major transformation and reorganization of the ACP. We are at a sink or swim moment. Just because someone is a gifted writer, speaker, and intellectual does not make them a leader. We do not have the right people in the right place. Leadership selection process was expedited because we were launching something new with inexperienced Marxists. Do we need a chairman right now who's not even mentally stable? Someone has to earn that position in the course of actual struggle. We should select a date in the next month to consider the appointees to the executive board and the Politburo. Communication. Jackson is supremely talented as well. He's a down-to-earth guy despite being a global celebrity. And grifter. He's a grifter. He's a big grifter. I think it's important that the masses and party workers always see Jackson on the front lines of community work and organizing as well. This will set an amazing example for them, and hopefully inspire some more Americans to fight back and join us. Jackson leads with a lot of the culture war BS because he outsmarted the algorithms. We cannot expect our existing membership to be able to separate real-world social practice from online profilicity and social media. The New York chapter is obsessed with online beef. Our leaders brag, fuck the Kurds, gay people are fascists. That's crazy. But what practical work have they done? They spend days on Telegram imagining in their heads how they wage the revolution but have no contact with the only social force who can make the revolution. The new recruits in our midst are watching our cliquishness and sectarianism. It will come all out, comrades. Much more will be revealed. Wow, this is crazy. Where is the communication between the base and the leadership? How can the rank and file critique their views, articulate their views and critiques from the ground? Through chapter execs like Spiros, who have lied and manipulated their way through the past 5 months. Spiros convinced everyone here in New York that our chapter was on probation. When I confronted Spiros, he denied everything. The hammer is coming down. Who will replace him? In the state of 20 million, I see only 6 capable proletarian comrades at this point. A few have a foot out the door, and some of them are 8 hours away from New York City. The Amazon strike was our best school of Leninism yet. It allowed us to develop an accurate evaluation of all 54 New York State recruits. With a state chapter of 54 on Telegram, 10 participated in the 5 days of heated class struggle. Half were unreachable. That's crazy. Our comrades had their final day under the sun. The basement wizards and attic gamers preferred darkness. Here in the 15-degree cold, they were exposed to the elements. How could we ever claim to really get to know a person online? This was the perfect test for our branch. We failed. Point every finger you want to. This is the perfect refraction of who we are and who we're not. We can crack a bunch of skulls of mediocre chapter execs and address underlying issues. Let's find the right balance. I have no right to be hard on infrared. There's a lot of good in what Haas and you all have built, but it's time for a higher calling and ascension to the concrete. ACP paychecks. Noah and Carlos called me on September 12th. They urged me to have very little to do with the New York chapter. They told me to distance myself from local organizing and educational efforts because, according to them, lower cadre were going to try to get close to me to use me for party favors. It was a bizarre convo with 2 men I have not seen organize much of anything. Carlos is a rare intellect. He is supremely talented, and he's also a big grifter and a Zionist cuck. Carlos and Haas as a 1-2 combo with actual leadership could be huge. But we are not there yet, and you probably won't ever be. Noah is a genuine communist and a CIA Fed named Richard Cray, and the nicest guy on earth. Sounds like Colin Farrell from Farrell on the Bench. But from his bubble of niceness, he does not call out bullshit. Cowardice will plague him forever. We have a rare opportunity before us, but our bureaucracy and arrogance already taking root. Is anyone's main job to focus on getting a paycheck? If anyone came to the ACP looking for a salary, get a real job like the rest of us. As we grow, we can figure out employing reliable staff. The New York experts. Kyle, Haas, and Eddie are coming to New York. I don't know when. I cannot get in touch with Eddie. Eddie has shown little interest in understanding events in New York. I left him a series of messages about the discord in New York at the height of the Amazon struggle. 12 days later, he announced he was coming to New York publicly. He then responded to my texts and messages that his phone does not work, so he cannot correspond with me. I asked him if he could communicate on Telegram. He never responded. This man is a guilty party. It says Eddie Leger Smith. Victim of the cult or guilty party? Looks guilty to me. I was excited to host Eddie, Noah, and Carlos last winter in New York City. I'm curious now what the know-it-alls are even coming to do in New York. Kyle says they are coming to castrate Spiros in front of everyone. But who's going to castrate the arrogance and lack of professionalism that is giving birth to more and more Spiroses? You want to show up in cities and and throw down a fist as if you had the magical solution for this very weak proletarian material bequeathed to us? The problem goes way beyond Spiros. Spiros is surrounded by a dozen or 2 dozen Spiroses. There, you all are the chief LARPers responsible for all this disarray. You spend all your time obsessing over Haz's paranoid online fantasies. That's crazy. After 5 months of observing this executive board, I was forced to tell them to their faces that they are punks and corrupt usurpers. I, along with others, some loyal, some antagonistic, are quietly observing the mess you've created. I have no interest in online squabbles on the enemy's territory. I was sold a fake bill of goods about the ACP. If we do not right this ship, misunderstandings and disrespect we will spill over in the online sphere, as they already have. I am a praying man. I've been a Marxist-Leninist for 31 years and have visited and learned from comrades in 86 different countries. I took a vow to follow your generation's leadership for 1 year to give this a chance. We barely made it out 5 months and this is imploding. I want to fight. I've swallowed a lot of venom for this collective. This is not about me. This is about the ACP and American people. Let's duke it out the principled way. Set up a Politburo meeting retreat in Vermont, Chicago, or on Zoom so we can all get on the same page. Let's see if we need this after tomorrow night. We have some real talent here, and there's a definite void we can fill, ideologically and organizationally. I was told Haz was a man of honor and the ACP was based in honor. Remember, you all were not even elected? Show some respect and let's get our shit together. And this is from Friday, January 3, 5 p.m. And it's the internal Politburo Communique number 2 on Haz's narcissism and ACP. Danny Shaw, ACP Politburo. So, did you even read my... So tonight I would like to ask some open-ended questions to Haz. Did you even read my critiques? Did you even take any responsibility, or you continue to deflect, deny, and manipulate? Is it true that you have launched some internal investigation after someone had the balls to tell you to your face? How about investigating your own conduct, Ali Hammoud, Haz, that has caused a culture of manipulation and disaster? Why did I receive multiple phone calls from different parts of Russia complaining about your erratic and unprofessional behavior there? Are you insinuating that we are federal agents? Do you recognize that at this moment our party is a complete mess and needs to transform into a real Marxist-Leninist party composed of principled, disciplined tribunes and people? If you, Haz, continue to respond the only way thus far you know how, my diagnosis will be confirmed. You are a narcissist. There could be bipolar, depression, ADHD, or other diagnoses involved too. As a licensed mental health and addiction specialist, this is what I've seen. I do not divulge this information in a liberal way, comrades. This is the chairman of our organization. Whatever he does, we have done. The failures are ours. He is the face of this party. Since silence before his misleadership is cowardice and the worst form of liberalism that Mao, a true chairman, identified. Kyle and Haz's lying, manipulation, and denial is unacceptable unto itself. It goes without saying that we are all here to help the sick and suffering comrades, but if he insists upon trying to split the ACP, we should defend the unity of the ACP at all costs. Yo. Christian, I hear you. I've been loyal to this misleadership, but I've had enough. A lot of what you say depends on the egomaniac Haz, his control freak and bootlicking accomplice, and his little bubble boy Midwestern Marx milkmaid enablers. I apologize to you and all the other comrades who are newer to Marxism, Leninism, and party building. This has been a tremendous drain on our time and emotional resources. No one should be losing sleep because of others' misleadership and mental health issues. That is what forced many of us to say enough. In terms of the structure of tonight's meeting, if Haz and Pettis try to dominate and deflect, we will be wasting our time. Let 100 flowers bloom. Let every comrade speak their mind for 5 to 10 minutes without fear of some internal investigation. One of the most uninvolved comrades should chair tonight, i.e. Grayson, Slava, Jordan, Bridget. Isn't Bridget like a white supremacist? For comrades who have written me and insisted on a response. Breathe, reflect. Some of what you ask depends on tonight. Will you conduct yourself like a man or like a communist, or will you behave like a coward? In terms of Pettis' New York trip, if he comes here to castrate Spiros in front of everyone as he brags, he's going to have to go through me. Let's see who gets castrated. A man will come. Eddie will come. No weasels anywhere close to New York. Pettis tries to say how much he has tried to change Haas, the humiliator-in-chief, have failed. You, the humiliator-in-chief, have failed. But Pettis' failures are never his. He always blames Haas, Carlos, Eddie, Noah, or someone else. The chief larper and braggart and excuse maker has proven that he has none of the humility required for leadership. When this brat Pettis does not get his way, he screams, I'm in the executive board. You will do as I say. I outrank you. You are no one. Two sadistic sick puppies think they're my bosses. You think I signed up for this? I signed up to mentor aspiring communists in the mold of William Foster, Claudia Jones, and Henry Winston. All of the ego is foreign to me. Some of the hypocrites question my certain use of language. Did the Midwest tone police and fake KGB and language KGB question how professional the language was when your mentor called everyone flippets, this word? When you were, where were your criticisms then? What's the definition of hypocrisy? Do I trust any of you? Executive Eddie, Executive Carlos, Executive Noah. Who have you become? I feel let down by many of you. Let's keep fighting so I don't have to hear that MMI is just a Midwestern Internet Institute and the ACP is the autistic cosplay party. Time will tell. Comrades, if you think there is no ACP beyond Haas's chairmanship, you are wrong. Follow Marxism, Leninism, not some fallible man. It is our duty as revolutionaries to be honest about our achievements and failures. Either we continue to LARP or we humble ourselves and dig deep into the struggles of everyday hardworking people who live in the real world, not on the internet. Let's cut out all the bullshit and emerge from this 100 times stronger and more unified, comrades.